Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. First off, quick announcement. Apologize for all of the noise you will be hearing in this episode
Bring my
because we have to record this really late. So my closet's out of the question because my husband's home. The hallway's out of the question because I actually don't know why the hallway was out
You
of the
decided to
question.
just do it in my room. You're like, let's just do it in your room. Like,
So
okay.
well, she was already in her room, so I was like, I'll bring it to you. You don't have to move,
It was
which is
nice.
like the American way.
I
But
didn't ask for this.
I forgot that she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 animals in her room. 8?
8. Because there's 6 rats and 2 cats. It's an even number. I believe in my even numbers.
Okay. So while you hear rat noises, I will be sipping a nice glass of wine.
I've got my finger in the cage, and one of them is like just nibbling on my finger. Ooh, it tickles.
And that required a ooh.
I make high pitched noises. What can I say?
So not only is it like 11 o'clock at night, we're both exhausted from a long day of work. There are rats in the frickin' room.
They're cute.
It's fine.
They're all pets. They're beautiful.
Okay.
They're all pretty. The only one that looks like a sewer rat is Splinter.
Oh god.
And even then, he has pretty curly fur. It's very fucking soft.
Apparently rats can have curly fur. Who knew?
Yeah, they're called Rexes.
I'm discussing with the audience because until this past year, I had no clue.
There's also a breed called Dumbos.
Yes, they have Dumbo ears, apparently.
Well, their ears are like on the sides of their head versus on the top of their head. So
also that little this noise. Just ignore it. It's fine. It's been a
someone
long
may not
day.
be fully here today.
It's a long day. I work at a place that I shall not name, but I had a customer in today. This was not their first time. And they just sat in our frickin' waiting room, bawling their eyes out because they had a nick in their dresser and couldn't wait a month to get it fixed because COVID has backed everything up.
Well, that's all nice and lovely.
They're having a frickin' panic attack.
Yes,
just bawling.
You told me earlier. Now, while that is all nice and dandy, you want to get into what we're here for?
Oh yeah, this is Making Musically Challenged. Welcome back to episode 13.
Yeah.
I'm done with life. It's fine.
How many minutes did we waste?
3 minutes.
Good job.
This is the longest intro yet, and it's fine.
All right. So
you guys want to know more about our social life, right? Our personal lives. That's what you're here for, not the show. Just our lives in general.
And with that, this week we're talking about the vampires.
Yes. Okay. So the vampires. We touched on them briefly in probably both, honestly, the Elven episode and partially in the Siren episode. So let's just dive into it, shall we? Okay.
Do you have your adult juice?
I do have my adult juice, and my adult juice is great.
Hey.
So, okay. We've discussed in the Elven episode, which was, I think, like, what, episode 3? 1, 2, or 3? It was one of the very first episodes, I think.
I think it was 2.
2. In one of our first episodes, again, I'm so sorry for the rat noises. I can just hear them drinking their water.
Yeah, it's very loud.
It's fine.
We have noises kind of going on all around us right now.
My
room is not a good place to do this.
Honestly, the hallway would have been just as bad.
This is true.
Okay. So, in one of our earliest episodes, we deep dove into the Elven territory. And we discussed how the elves created the vampires. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't really the elf people, technically. It was the Grand Maestro of the time, which happened to be an elf.
Yes.
So we discussed how elves are polyamorous. And one of the partners of the Grand Maestro was dying, and they didn't like that. That didn't sit well with them. No. So they reached out to their Zodiac, and again, to be a Grand Maestro, you have to be a user of all four magics, not only the three that are common in Harmonia, but also the fourth, which is the Zodiac Magic.
Mhm.
And they basically they created a vampire, and now it's not 100% vampire as we know today. They don't sparkle in the sun, they don't have golden eyes, and they're not like drop dead gorgeous all of a sudden once you're a vampire. What?
I'm gonna say
They're not the Cullens.
I wasn't gonna say they were.
Nor are they Dracula. They are a new breed.
What I was gonna say was the Zodiac Arbor, who did not create the vampires.
No,
it was more of a
not.
roundabout. So
No.
well,
Yeah,
okay.
no. Go ahead.
So the Grand Maestro petitioned Arbor for to heal basically his partner.
Yes.
And Arbor was like, I'm going to give you the essence of a star, and this will allow them to heal. But that's all I want you to do with it.
And he didn't follow instructions.
Instructions were not followed that day.
No, they wildly just forgot about instructions.
Well, the essence of a star is like one of the most powerful things. And
so
yeah.
We kind of see that star essence throughout Harmonia in different people groups. So it's used in like the Purpura and the Giant territory in a way for like their birthing ceremonies, because and then the Valkyrie, because these are three different races of people who don't have children in the natural order. And if you're curious about those, go listen to those episodes. We have one out on each of them.
Yep.
So basically, Zodiac magic is like life and death magic, and Arbor granted this portion of life magic to the Grand Maestro so that he could heal his loved one. However, the Grand Maestro took it a step further and accidentally made his partner immortal.
Yes. Well, he saw the potential that was possible, and so he kind of experimented with it beyond what he was supposed to.
Yes. So basically, he created an immortal human being, or elven being.
Elven.
He created an immortal elven being, and but so the way we've kind of twisted vampires is they're not fully immortal. If you continue to drink the blood of something, then you will remain immortal. But if you choose to stop drinking it, then you start aging again, basically.
Yeah, you just age naturally, and you can always start up again, but
yes. So like, say you're 20, you want to stay 20 for 30 years, that's fine, keep drinking blood. However, if you want to start aging again, stop drinking blood. You can start aging. By the time you hit 30, you're like, meh, 30s really aren't for me. Start drinking blood again, you stay 30 for however long you want. It's kind of like that. Also, being a vampire is like the perfect birth control. So unless you are clean for an entire year on blood, you cannot have children as a vampire.
Yeah, and your children are not born vampires.
No, your children are born normal.
Vampirism is something that it's contagious, don't get me wrong.
It's transmitted through like saliva to blood.
Yeah.
Basically. Like the typical bite.
Yeah, the typical bite. Or honestly, if like you had a cut and they licked it,
there you go, you're a vampire. Whoops.
So saliva into blood, that's it.
Speaking of having cut and being licked, do you want to talk about the vampiric cult?
Oh, I was like, where are you going with that? Like, that was a transition to what?
No, that's okay. So
your love life?
Oh God, no!
I didn't know.
I hope not.
I hope not too. I don't need to know that kind of stuff.
No. So okay, we have a vampiric cult who we called the Blood Bonded. Was that it?
Yeah, the Blood Bonded.
The Blood Bonded, and they believe they are a cult of vampiric elves.
Stop trying to attack my rats.
Oh my God. Okay. So we have the Blood Bonded cult who believe that vampirism is the end-all be-all of existence, and they think that they're, the best of the best.
We have quite a few races who think that. I don't want to put that there.
I don't put that. Yeah, that would block your voice to the microphone. I wouldn't put that there. Okay, so the Blood Bonded. They believe that the best race in Harmonia is the elves as a vampire. So this is actually fairly recent. In the show, this only happened about a year or so prior to the beginning of the show. So it's after the Great Key Change, a good like 49 years into it, about a year before our show takes place. A cult forms of vampiric elves, and they
Mhm.
believe that they are the best. They are the end all be all, that they should be the race above all else, basically.
Well, the reason they think that obviously is because elves were the ones that started the whole vampiric thing.
They're immortal. Like, why wouldn't they be on top?
You could have.
Why wouldn't they be on top?
Well, like as we've stated, just to kind of clarify, elves are traditionally polyamorous. Not that all of them are like that, but most of them.
Yes.
And vampirism is spread very, very easily.
Very easily.
So it's
Yes.
spread very easily, very
Yes.
quickly too.
So now, not you don't have to be an elf to be vampire,
No, honestly,
but
any race except sirens
sirens.
can be turned into a vampire.
Exactly.
However, we do have a couple of races that you will never see as vampires because they've never interacted with any.
Centaurs being one of them, and giants being the other
second,
one
yeah.
of them. However, so back to the blood bonded cults, they will be playing a big part, especially towards the beginning
At the beginning.
and kind of end of the show. Like we'll see it kind of like tie in a way.
You'll see a tie-in, especially from season 1 to season 3.
Yeah,
I don't want to
so
spoil that
oh
though.
no. But what happens is they think, like we said, they're the end all be all. They think everyone should be a vampire. So
Well,
this ties
they think that
the
all elves should be vampires.
exactly. They think all elves should be vampires, and this ties in my little oh, speaking of wounds and licking them, they're secretly trying to turn other elves into vampires. So like
Mm-hmm.
if they see an elf with like a cut, they may go over there and try to be like, "Oh, here, let me help heal you," and end up putting their saliva into the cut. It's not legal the way they're
No.
doing things. We are very against it, even though we're the ones that wrote it. We think this is a no-no.
I feel like that's how we are about everything we've written in this show.
Everything we've written is a giant 100% freaking no-no. However,
At least when it comes to the political issues that we're bringing up.
that's the reason we're bringing them up, is because we're trying to like parallel things. Just watch the show, you'll understand. It's fine.
Yes, watch the show that hasn't been aired yet. That's a great idea.
Or you know what? If you have questions,
5-star review.
if you have questions, just write to us. We'll explain it. It's a late night. I apologize if you're getting this
Yeah, it's a
episode.
late night for her.
Yes, it is. I'm in bed by this hour usually.
I was in bed and then you dragged me out.
Yeah, because we didn't get it done this morning.
Yeah, because someone had to go to work.
We both had to go to work.
Yes, but I didn't go anywhere.
You still had work. Anyway. So this vampire cult is trying to turn other elves secretly into vampires and recruit those who they think would hold their ideals. Now, the reason the sirens play into this is because they actually cannot be turned into vampires, and there's a whole history between elves and sirens that we get into in the siren episodes. So if you want to hear about that, go listen to that episode.
Mhm.
However, the sirens are kind of, they're not like slaves to the cult, but they are mistreated in the cults, even though they don't really realize it. So it's kind of that like,
It's more of the
it's like the
psychological abuse.
yes. So there's like a psychological manipulation that goes on in this cult to the sirens that we kind of are going to touch on, and again we'll see that later on in season 3 when we focus on the siren territory, because as we've stated before, every so many episodes, we're going to be moving from territory to territory, and the elves are one of the first territories we visit, and the sirens are one of the last territories we visit. So we will be seeing this kind of tie in together from season 1 all the way to the end of season 3.
Well, I kind of want to explain a little bit why the sirens make such good partners for the vampires and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So vampires, since they're not a full race.
No, talk to the mic, not to me.
Well, since vampires, since they're not a full race, they're more of a sub-race. They don't have their own sexuality.
Okay.
However,
quick side note, while they are a race, we call them a sub-race because they're not one of the original. We're not trying to say like any mixed race or anything like that is a subrace. That's just
That's the terminology we've been using because it's
they're not lesser in any way, shape,
no.
or form. I just want to make that clear because we do call a couple different races subraces, even though they are a race in and of themselves.
I don't really know what else to call it.
I know. I'm just trying to make that clear. Like, we think nothing less of them. That's just the term we used when we first started writing the show.
Yeah.
So they are a race in and of themselves. We just call them a subrace because they were not one of the original 12.
Well, like, they're not a... There's a connection between them, but they're not a race. You get it.
You understand. We're not trying to be offensive in any way, shape, or form. No. They're not one of the original 12. Them and the Zootomos we consider subraces because they were not an original race. They were made from a race and have spread.
Yes, something happened to create.
And it's not quite like a mixed race. It's not like Zarg. They're not giant and orc. They are a artificially created race.
Sure.
Which is why we call them a subrace. Anyway, continue.
Well, you're taking a person that already exists and making them something else. Well, something more, really.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't change what they are. It just...
changes. It gives them extra.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make that clear for the listeners at home.
Anyways, as I was saying, because they're not one of the original 12 races that... of Harmonian, they're not like their own people group. They don't have their own sexuality. However, we decided to do something a bit different so that they did have their own thing going for them.
Mm-hmm.
Are we allowed to say the term on this podcast?
Okay. So hopefully we don't get flagged for this, but I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, terms. They are the Dom sub race. And that's about as far as I'm going to go into that. Otherwise, I don't want to flag this sub.
They're very passionate with their their bedtime activities.
Wildly so. And it ranges, it's got so many different ranges because, like, the sirens are very much auto, very into themselves. So that right there gives a whole dynamic to the Dom sub. And
well, the sirens obviously,
there's so many different aspects.
If you listen to the episode where we talk about the sirens, we talk about their history, and their history, to sum it up, was they used to procreate in less than
ethical manners.
That's a good way to put it. Consent was
not key. No, consent was not had for the sirens.
So, and a lot of when it comes down to, what's the term we can use that does not start with an S?
The dedues.
That's the right.
The dedues. So when you're talking about deduing...
come in, Andre?
Oh, hi, buddy.
You either come in or you don't. I don't want Milo getting up.
We're talking to a cat. Give us a moment.
Don't eat his food.
It's the special fluffy one.
He's the good one. Hello, sir.
You should put a picture up on the YouTube version.
I did the other day.
Do it again because we're talking about him.
Fine.
He deserves all recognition.
Oh, my lord. My Lanta.
So,
anyways,
where the dedues?
The dedues. So when it where was I going with this? It was the sirens and the vampires.
When it comes to the sirens deduing, it was not always consensual.
Yes, it wasn't always consensual. And because of that, a lot of it has to do with power.
Yes, it's a very much a power trip.
And so because sirens traditionally have that, like, innate desire for that during their...
It works really well with the vampires.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. And becoming a vampire gives you some extra oomph in your dedues.
And I'm gonna go ahead and put this out right now that I'm thinking about it. Enjoying like a power play during,
as long as it's consensual, you do.
Yeah, as long as it's consensual, it's fine. Like I think it's fine. But like, and sirens, like nowadays, especially like just to kind of clarify now, and in this era, the specific era, sirens are not like that.
No.
That
go listen to the siren episode if you want clarification.
Would you stop eating my cat's food?
Yes, the deduing and the dedues and the siren dedues. This has been a really rambling.
Well, the siren episode is a very delicate subject.
It is.
Like this, but
go listen to it. Honestly, just that's the best thing.
Just know that the sirens and the vampires make very good partners.
Yes, and the deduing is great because they're They just work
They
well
like the
together.
passion
So,
and the
okay,
power. Passion and
one thing
power.
that we have not talked about, we did want to discuss one particular vampire, and his name is Varys.
Yes.
I think we've mentioned him a couple times before in the
Mhm.
podcast. I know. Thank you for those who have like stuck with us through this episode. It's been a rambling episode, and I blame
Yes.
myself for most of that.
Yes, I blame you too.
However, Varys is going to be a key player in the show. He's not one of the main characters, but he's a key
He's a
player.
major character, or
He's up there.
what's the word I'm
So
thinking of?
key
He's
player.
necessary.
He's necessary. So we've discussed briefly in other episodes how um Harmonia is going through a change of a monarchy to a democracy, and people are wanting to vote in the next ruler of Harmonia.
Mhm.
So we have our Princess Rose, who is from the monarchy. She should theoretically be the next in line to rule. However, the people are not happy with her and her father, so they're wanting to take a vote. And Varys is going to be one of the main candidates for this vote. He is an elf. He is a vampire. He is in a polyamorous relationship with a few people, and he's all around a really great guy.
Well,
Kind of.
to an extent.
To a point.
I mean, he's still a politician. Don't get us wrong.
Oh, he's 100% a politician.
He's a very smooth talking politician too.
100%.
Charismatic.
He is great.
He's beautiful.
Wonderful.
I love him.
Magnificent.
However,
So,
now that
yes,
wasn't
Andre.
nice.
So basically, Varys, he knows about this the blood bonded Andre. Not now, sir.
She's just sitting there. You're in my room.
That's his ploy. He likes to complain when he's the one who put himself in the situation
He
to be
did.
complaining. He does that all the time.
I know. And she's not even doing anything.
I know.
She's just existing.
I know.
In her room.
He will literally be downstairs complaining, and Louise will be upstairs, and she'll go run downstairs to go find him because he's complaining. And then he'll complain more because she's in his space. Yes.
I mean, I've seen it happen, but it's just funny when it does.
It's great. So,
Oh.
Varys is fully aware of the blood bonded cult, and he wishes to make it stop because it's not the most ethical of things to be going on.
Yes.
So we do see him kind of broach the subject with Rose early on, and then we see like the aftermath of everything that happens. Not to say too much because that is getting into spoiler territory for the actual show. We kind of see that aftermath later on in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really fun, and I can't wait to actually start seeing
that.
I can't.
Like, that's gonna be my favorite part.
It's
at least of the first season.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So yeah, that's gonna be Varys.
Yeah, that's his introduction, but you're gonna see him like pop up all throughout the show.
He has a siren partner and a purpura partner, and the purpura is also a vampire. Like we said, it could be any race, and so technically this purpura is going to be a vampire. And then he has one other partner who is elvish. However, the elvish partner also has her own partner or his own partner. We haven't
discussed that one yet.
We haven't fully dedicated ourselves to whether or not the elvish partner is male or female. However, the siren is female and the purpura is non-binary. So
yes,
we'll see what happens.
Like they have to be.
Yes. So that's gonna be Varys. I'm super excited for you guys to meet him and really get to know him in the show. I know we've talked about other characters than like the main characters in the show, like Rose or Bob or Zarg. Varys, like I said, he's not going to be a main character, but he will definitely be popping up and have some pretty serious moments throughout the show. So I just want you guys to be on the lookout for him because I feel like he's going to be a lot of people's like favorite character.
I mean, you can't not miss him. He's very prominent.
No, I'm just saying like he's going to be a favorite.
He's He's definitely gonna be a favorite.
Yeah.
Well, he's a treat. Anytime he shows up, he's gonna be a treat.
It's like when okay, so for me, Princess Bride is one of my favorite movies. Whenever I see Wesley whenever I see Wesley pop up in any show, it's just like a treat. So I feel like
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what's
it's
gonna
like that.
be yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm watching a show right now and like Wesley's in it, and I didn't
Carrie Ells?
realize yeah. And I'm just like, "Oh my god, this show is 10 times better now because he's in like 2 episodes."
What show?
The Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Oh no, I have another reason to watch it.
I know, right? So,
But yeah, no, Varys is
he's
so
gonna be the
great.
Carrie Ells of the show, I feel like. Whenever he pops up, it's just gonna be fantastic, and it's
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
great.
Well, what's cool about Varys, like I said, he is a politician. Like he's been a politician in the Elvish community for a while. Like he's I think one of the main ambassadors.
He is, and he's one of the first vampires too, so he's pretty old.
However, he just doesn't look it.
No, he's decided to
He's-
stay in his,
he's-
like, late 20s, early 30s.
Exactly.
He's gorgeous.
He
It's
is. He's
fine.
very pretty, and he knows it. He's like I said, he's got a lot of charisma,
Mhm.
and he's very popular with the people who know him.
Yes.
So he is going to be like he is a major candidate. He's not just like
He's, like, one of the top candidates of the show.
I mean, we do have 3 major ones that we're focusing on. He's
He's
one
one
of
of
them.
the 3, yeah.
And like it's interesting to see his and Rose's dynamic
Mhm.
because you've got her who was born into the position but not really had the experience in dealing with politics, and
Mhm.
you see him
Who's
who
been
is
in this since she was in diapers.
and he's like while she's a natural at it, he's a natural with experience.
Yes. So he's got the experience, he's got the people behind him. He's a force to be reckoned with. So watching their dynamic is going to be really fun and really interesting.
Well, you'll also see because like he's a vampire,
Mhm.
they're kind of like on the smaller side. So he
Mhm.
tends to go for especially for a lot of the people who don't feel like they have as loud of voices as some of the others.
Exactly. He's definitely a player for the underdogs, which is
Yes.
again fun to see.
It is. It's
Mhm.
really cool to watch them kind of battle it out. And you will actually see like I think an episode where we do it a debate.
We do. That's season
3.
2.
Oh, it is season. Yeah, you're right. Season 2.
Season 2, we're actually going to have a debate between the candidates that are up for the role, and he's going to be a part of that. So we'll get to see a lot more of like his views and his takes on Harmonia and what he wants to do with it, and we'll really see his and Rose's dynamic really blossom there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you get introduced to him really early on, and he's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then, Rose and him actually work together, and it's really cool to watch them work together
Mm-hmm.
because they make a good not couple, but they make a good
They make
partnership.
a good team.
Team's the right word. That's it.
Team. Yeah, no, they're not a couple.
No.
At all. But they make a good team because I feel like they balance each other out really well. While she's got like the brashness of like the young and hungry, he's got the wisdom of somebody who's been doing this for years.
I mean, Varys was one of the ones in the council who like pushes for the election in the first place, like to change the monarchy because of how things had been running for the past like few years.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been the episode basically on the vampires. It's been a mouthful, it's been an earful. Hopefully you were able to stick with us through this crazy
I hope the rattling of my rat bottle, my little water bottles isn't too annoying throughout the episode.
We are taking submissions for which episode you want to hear next. We've got the 4 magics, we've got the Zootomos, and we have the Zodiacs. So let us know whether it be in the comments of the show or through email or through TikTok. Let us know which one you want to hear next: Zootomo, Zodiac, or the Magics deep dive episode.
I know which one I want to do.
But we're going to leave it up to you guys.
Yeah.
So let us know. Also, reach out to us if you want a job. We're hiring for animators, voice actors, all of the above. We love hearing you guys like comments and discuss this with us. We love when you guys reach out. It's a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us. This has been a wonderful night. You guys have been a great audience. And good
That's
night.
all, folks.
Bye.
Bye.